Is Yellowstone volcano showing signs of possible eruption? This question has been on the minds of many lately. Nestled in the heart of America's first national park, Yellowstone volcano is a behemoth of geological wonder. Its sheer size, spanning an area of over 2,000 square miles, earns it the title of a supervolcano. But what does that mean exactly? Well, a supervolcano isn't just any ordinary volcano. It's a term used to describe a volcanic center that has had an eruption of magnitude 8 on the Volcano Explosivity Index, meaning the measured deposits for that eruption is greater than 1,000 cubic kilometers. That's enough to fill the Grand Canyon. Now the question of the hour, is this sleeping giant showing signs of waking up? It's a fair question considering the devastating potential of a super eruption, but fear not. Thanks to the tireless efforts of scientists and researchers, we have some of the most sophisticated monitoring systems in place to keep an eye on this slumbering giant. These systems continuously monitor seismic activity, ground deformation, gas output and more to detect any changes that might suggest an increase in volcanic activity. Data is collected round the clock from an intricate network of seismometers, GPS stations, and other instruments scattered across the park. Recent reports suggest that Yellowstone is behaving as it has for the past half-century. The ground rises and falls, as it always has, and earthquake swarms are a common occurrence. These are normal signs of an active volcanic system, and not necessarily indicators of an impending super-eruption. The truth is, volcanic eruptions, especially of the super variety, are incredibly hard to predict. But the good news is, for now, Yellowstone seems to be snoozing away, much like it has for the past 640,000 years since its last super eruption. So while Yellowstone is a giant, it's presently a slumbering one. Did you know Yellowstone has had 3 super eruptions in the last 2.1 million years? Let's take a stroll down memory lane. The first eruption, occurring around 2.1 million years ago, was so colossal that it created the Huckleberry Ridge Tuff, an extensive rock formation that spans across parts of the United States. Fast forward to the second eruption about 1.3 million years ago, which resulted in the Island Park Caldera and the Mesa Falls Tuff. The most recent eruption, approximately 640,000 years ago, gave birth to the Lava Creek Tuff and the Yellowstone Caldera, which we know today. These eruptions were no ordinary events. They were super eruptions, each spewing over 1,000 cubic kilometers of ash and rock, impacting global climate and reshaping the landscape. These eruptions are a testament to Yellowstone's supervolcanic status. What would happen if Yellowstone erupts in our lifetime? Let's delve into that. The repercussions of a Yellowstone super eruption would be colossal. The immediate blast zone would be annihilated, but the far-reaching impacts would be felt on a global scale. The ash fallout would spread across the United States, affecting infrastructure, agriculture, and overall health. Imagine this. A layer of ash as thick as 3 feet could blanket the immediate vicinity of the eruption, with cities as far as 1,000 miles away potentially receiving a dusting. This ash wouldn't merely be an inconvenience. It could pose significant health risks, especially to those with respiratory issues. Moreover, it could wreak havoc on transportation systems, clog up water and sewage treatment plants, and even cause buildings to collapse under its weight. But the fallout isn't the only concern. The eruption would spew massive amounts of volcanic gases into the atmosphere. These gases, including sulfur dioxide, could form an aerosol veil around the Earth, reflecting sunlight back into space. This could lead to a drop in global temperatures, also known as a volcanic winter. The climate effects could last for several years, disrupting agriculture and leading to food shortages worldwide. Now, here's a fun fact for you. The last time Yellowstone erupted, about 640,000 years ago, it expelled over 2,000 times more material than the 1980 eruption of Mount St. Helens. If such an eruption were to occur today, the ash coverage could stretch far beyond the borders of the US, reaching as far as Europe and Asia. However, before we let our imaginations run wild, it's crucial to remember that the likelihood of such an event happening in our lifetime is extremely low. Yellowstone is actively monitored, and there are no signs that an eruption is on the horizon. The effects would be global, but remember, an eruption is not imminent. There's a lot of speculation surrounding Yellowstone. Let's take a moment to separate fact from fiction. First off, let's tackle the myth that Yellowstone is due for an eruption. The truth is, there's no schedule. Yellowstone's eruptions do not follow a predictable timetable. The last 3 major eruptions occurred 600,000 1.2 million, and 2.1 million years ago. So, the intervals between these eruptions aren't regular. The idea of an overdue eruption is simply a myth. Next, the myth that an eruption at Yellowstone would mean the end of the world. It's true that a super eruption would have serious global consequences, but it wouldn't wipe out life on Earth. Volcanic ash would blanket the US, causing some areas to be uninhabitable for a while, and we'd likely see a drop in global temperatures. But an extinction-level event? That's highly unlikely. Then there's the idea that scientists are hiding information about an imminent eruption. The reality is that scientists have no reason to hide such information. In fact, they're continuously monitoring Yellowstone and would give as much warning as possible if an eruption were imminent. So, what signs would scientists look for? Increased seismic activity is one sign. But remember, earthquakes are common in Yellowstone, with between 1,000 and 3,000 happening each year. It's only when they occur in swarms or are accompanied by other changes, like ground deformation, that they may signal an eruption. Another sign would be changes in the area's hydrothermal systems. This could include new or more active geysers, or changes in the temperature and composition of hot springs. Lastly, the myth that nothing can be done if Yellowstone were to erupt. While it's true that we can't prevent an eruption, preparations can be made to mitigate the impacts. Knowledge is power, and understanding the facts keeps us well equipped. So, what's happening with Yellowstone right now? Well, let's dive into the latest research and findings on this fascinating geological feature. Currently, Yellowstone is classified as an active volcano, but don't let that term alarm you. In the world of geology, active simply means that the volcano has erupted in the last 10,000 years, which is a blink of an eye in geological time. It does not indicate an imminent eruption. Now you might be thinking, but what about all those earthquakes I hear about? It's true, Yellowstone experiences between 1,000 to 3,000 earthquakes each year. However, most of these are so small that they go unnoticed by visitors. This seismic activity is a normal part of the processes that drive the park's famous geysers and hot springs. Scientists monitor Yellowstone closely, using a variety of tools to detect any changes that might hint at an eruption. These include seismographs to record earthquakes, GPS to measure ground deformation, and gas sensors to detect changes in emissions. Despite this intense surveillance, the data collected over the past few decades indicate no signs of an impending eruption. Research also suggests that major eruptions at Yellowstone occur on a timescale of hundreds of thousands of years apart. The last major eruption was more than 600,000 years ago, so we're not exactly overdue. Moreover, the magma chamber beneath Yellowstone is only about 5 to 15% molten. The rest is solid rock. For an eruption to occur, a large part of this solid rock would need to melt, which is a process that would likely take centuries. So, while the idea of a supervolcano eruption might make for a thrilling Hollywood disaster movie, the reality is much less dramatic. Yellowstone remains active and continues to be a wonder of nature, but it's not about to blow its top anytime soon. In conclusion, despite its reputation and the myths surrounding it, the current state of the Yellowstone volcano is stable and calm. Yellowstone remains one of the most watched volcanoes on the planet. And there you have it, the incredible, mighty, but currently calm Yellowstone Supervolcano. We've journeyed through its fascinating history, the potential impact of an eruption, and the difference between myths and reality. We've discovered that while Yellowstone is indeed an active volcano, current scientific monitoring and research show no signs of an imminent eruption. This supervolcano, steeped in mystery and intrigue, continues to captivate us with its dormant power. But remember, the key to understanding is knowledge, separating fact from fiction, speculation from reality. We've also learned why it's been termed a supervolcano, a title befitting its massive size and potential impact. As we go about our daily lives, let's not forget about this sleeping giant, a testament to the powerful forces that shape our planet. Remember to like, share, and subscribe to Lexopedia, where mysteries meet your curiosity. Until next time, keep exploring the wonders of our planet.